'Tis the season to shine with H&M. Discover the holiday collection and find fashionable pieces for your wardrobe or for under the tree. Get inspired and dazzle with this year's glam. From tuxedo styles, bow detailed pieces, impressive prints, and more. From unforgettable looks to unforgettable gifts. With fashion finds to home decor, find it all at H&M. Treat your loved ones and yourself this season. Shop in-store or at hm.com.
The kettle's boiled, Vic.
Great. Perfect timing. Just a dash of milk for me, please, mate.
Here you go. Shall we get started then?
Have you ever woken up on a Sunday morning and said, I'm never drinking again, and then found yourself waving $50 at a barman by happy hour?
Are you wondering why everyone else can stop at 1 while you head to a dodgy after-party with a weird bloke called Disco Dave? If so, it might be time to take a deeper look at your relationship with your reliable social crutch, alcohol.
On each episode, we'll investigate our own dysfunctional dealings with booze and find out if it's possible to stop this deeply ingrained habit before things get too messy.
Yep, we're going to open up a shame shed of humiliating drinking stories to help you understand why waking up from a booze coma each weekend with a kebab sticking out of your top pocket might actually be negatively impacting your health.
Hamish and I are here to delve into what it's like being sober, an unwanted warts and all look into why giving up those cheeky pints or putting down those mummy wines will make you feel happier, help your anxiety and mental health, and turn you into the most sparkly, authentic version of you.
Won't that mean I become boring though, Vic?
Well, Hamish, we'll just have to wait and see. I'm Victoria Vanstone.
I'm Hamish Adams-Cairns.
And this is Sober Awkward.
Do you have a hobby, Alan?
I quite like collecting human hair without the victims knowing.
Oh my bloody hell.
He's a psychopath.
He is a psychopath, isn't he? I'm surprised he's told us that. I wondered what he was keeping in that drawer. There's a hairy drawer.
It's probably mostly yours.
Yeah.
You've been going here for a year.
Please don't say that. We're going to find a room underground somewhere, aren't we, with our faces adorned.
He's going to have a mannequin that's dressing up as you, hair-wise.
With a wig.
Yeah, a wig.
Like a skin suit, like in Silence of the Lambs.
No.
Collecting human hair without the victims knowing. Oh, it's a worry.
That's what we're talking about today. Not collecting human hair, but hobbies.
Yeah.
So,
I love hobbies since I got sober, Hamish. It's not something that I ever got involved in before because my only hobby was drinking. But now one of my favourite hobbies is watching shit television. Okay. I mean, I've always liked a crappy brain-dead show, but since I gave up drinking, I do like the worst type of toxic reality television.
Please name shame said toxic reality TV show.
So this week, my hobby has been watching Below Deck. Have you heard of that?
Liz is passionate about Below Deck.
Oh my God, it is the most toxic thing. The level of drinking in this show is out of this world. So it's what it is, I'll explain very quickly, is the guests are all going onto these incredible ships, these massive liners that cost 250 grand a week. That is how much I looked it up. I was like Googling every single person and every destination on there. And all they're doing is getting really drunk and really hungover. And they're all in a state of anxiousness because they're worried about where the next drinks are coming from. And they're all sleeping with the other deck crew. So it's the story of the workers and the people coming on the boat. So it's like a combination of these stories coming together. And it is the most boozy thing. There's people wearing T-shirts saying, give me alcohol now. They're all missing out on the beautiful views, the sunsets, the experience that this is because they're all so busy getting wasted. It's brilliant television, but actually really triggery for anyone that's going to be drinking. I probably don't recommend watching it because literally it's just people drinking the whole programme. Once the guests have stopped drinking, it's the people that work on the boat that are drinking. And then they're all having arguments. But the next day they never go, oh, maybe we had arguments because we were pissed. It's actually, oh, we had an argument. Isn't it terrible? I'm shouting at the screen, so, throwing socks at the screen saying, it's the booze, stop drinking, everybody. It's really annoying.
Why are you watching this? You've given up booze to watch TV shows about people getting drunk.
I like getting riled up and I'm fascinated by it. I'm fascinated by addiction and I'm fascinated that people think that's okay to go and spend 250 grand on a week away and get wasted the whole time so you can't even bloody remember it. It's such a shame.
I've discovered a brand new sober hobby this week as well,
Oh, great.
which I think is going to be a game changer for me.
Oh, really?
So I went for my first ever breathwork and ice bath workshop. So it was like half a day down in Brisbane, and I loved it. I've always been kind of interested in Wim Hof and what there is out there in terms of things that you can feel and experience through breathwork and ice baths, but I loved it.
Oh, really?
Oh, it was amazing. There were maybe 30 of us there. So yeah, we spent the first half an hour just doing this deep in-breath and then let half of it out. Deep in-breath, half out. You do that for a while, and then you hold your breath at the end. For the first time, you hold your breath maybe a minute, and then a minute and a half and 2 minutes, and you feel all sorts, tingly, hot, cold. Some people experience traumas from their life.
Okay,
or try and
emotional
go through
stuff,
that. Yeah.
right?
I felt like I had a sort of ball of energy in my tummy bouncing around, which I felt before doing a...
Had you had a curry?
Yeah. I had the shits. Yeah. So I really enjoyed the breathwork stuff. And then ice bath has always been a fear of mine. I think I am so wet. I am the guy that's like, I feel the cold really badly, worse than anyone else.
You're my worst. Like you go sort of translucent in the cold.
Yeah, and then
blue shivering
Yorkshire for
lips.
school, Newcastle for university, Scotland for holidays.
Right.
We haven't. That has not been helped by those three things.
Yeah.
So the ice bath, I said, look, I need to go in first. I don't want to watch anyone do it.
Yeah.
So it was 6 degrees, and I had to be in there for 5 minutes.
Oh.
So they go, stand in it, take a few deep breaths, and then when you're ready, lower yourself in. So you drop in, you're sitting down, water's pouring up to my neck, and I was just hyperventilating. I could not catch my breath, and the woman's trying to calm me down, get eye contact with me, going, just breathe slowly, breathe deeply. Eventually, I caught my breath, and then she said, why don't you start voicing your out breaths? So I was going... Then I got the giggles. So the giggles are probably 2 of my 5 minutes, and everyone's watching, and I just can't breathe out without making these weird sounds.
God, it's so out of the comfort zone. A group
So
of people
out
doing
there.
that.
But I then felt incredible.
Oh, really?
So I've read a little bit into the science of it, and I think your production of dopamine in the hours following an ice bath goes through the roof. It's like 250% what it would be normally. So it just felt incredible. So
it's the same neurotransmitters that are working when you drink.
Exactly.
Right, so you're releasing the dopamine without having alcohol, which is amazing.
Yes. So I had a cold shower today, and I'm going to try and do the exercises every day.
Okay,
I'll
brilliant.
report back. But yeah, I think it's something I'm going to throw myself into during this sober year.
I am in for that.
You in?
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay,
I'm up for a bit of that.
We can do ice baths.
Yeah, I would be up for that. I've always wanted to swim the channel, so I reckon lather myself up.
That you remember how I said I had the
Do we get
shits?
naked and lather ourselves up? That's all I want to know.
Now it's a party. Time is something that I expect to have a lot more of now I've given up alcohol. And the thought of how to fill it without being tempted back to the drink can feel daunting. I mean, what should I do with the time that I would normally spend throwing up in a nightclub toilet or nursing a hangover and watching 11 hours of TV whilst trying to eat my body weight in popcorn, Vic?
Popcorn is so light, Hamish. That would take ages. You need to try some heavier snacks. Rock, gobstoppers maybe, fudge cake. They would be my heavy grub go-tos.
Yeah, that is a good idea. Apart from spending days stuffing your face with sugar, having more time on your hands can actually be one of the greatest gifts and dangers of your new sober life. So how are you going to fill it productively? Today, we're going to walk you through some of the sober hobbies which have worked for us and some that might best be avoided.
We hope that by the end of this episode, you might be able to see this extra time you have on your hands as an exciting opportunity to explore something new.
Yes, now is not the time to lock yourself in your bedroom like a horny teenager. The definition of a hobby is a regular activity that is done for enjoyment, typically during one's leisure time. In preparation for this episode, I watched a show about weird hobbies. Some of the things that came up were the following. People that collect belly button fluff.
Oh, yeah, I do that.
Arguing with people online.
Yeah, I do that too.
Ferret racing. Rock balancing. Learning to tie complicated knots. And train spotting.
Well, I hope today we can come up with a few more nourishing hobbies than these, Hamish.
For most of us, drinking would probably have been considered a hobby, alongside other classics like travelling, eating, or watching YouTube videos of people using carpet cleaners.
That might be you, Hamish. Please do not elaborate.
Oh.
Honestly, though, I watch the dog YouTube clips. I will share my favourite YouTube clip of all time, which is a dog being afraid of its own leg. I'll put it in the show notes. Makes me laugh for hours.
Yeah, that I need to see.
So we can replace our drinking hobby with one a little more productive and a little less pukey.
Obviously, this is not a one-size-fits-all question. We're not going to sit here and tell you that running daily 5Ks or becoming a Sudoku wizard are going to change your lives.
Although both have worked for me. Do love a little Sudoku. Right. We're not selling it here, are we, Hamish?
No.
Selling the sober life.
I'm not boring. I just love Sudoku.
Yeah. Before we delve into the hobbies that could help you with your sobriety, let's begin by looking at how we used to fill our time before we got sober.
Vic, you put up a recent photograph on your Instagram of your eldest son, George. In it, he was holding a cardboard sign offering to wash anyone's car for $5. Beneath it, you wrote about how similar you used to be to him whilst growing up. You had lots of dreams, career aspirations, and I imagine a wide range of hobbies.
Yeah, bless him, my son George, he's very entrepreneurial. He's got a little T-shirt business where he recycles T-shirts from the op shops and tie-dyes them and he sells them in the shop.
I know.
And he was out the front of the house. Yeah, he got $50 cleaning cars the other day.
What?
Love him, yeah, love him. Actually, it was some guys went past who didn't even get their cars cleaned and just gave him all the change out of the middle. It was $25 or something. So yeah, I've got him begging out on the street generally most Sundays now.
Good going.
Yeah, so that's good. Giving me an extra coffee money. So yeah, I enjoyed rounders. It was one of my favourite hobbies as a kid before I started boozing heavily. They used to shout whacker when I went onto the pitch, but I realise now they were probably shouting wanker. I was like, yeah, here I come, the whacker. I loved art and design. I was really creative growing up. And I think my real creative side got drowned out with alcohol eventually. But I was always drawing, always designing. I loved those things at school. I did really well at art and design and history of art. And for my A-levels, they were my thing. But of course, at that time when you're studying those things, the things that you love is the same time when alcohol seeps into your life. So they all got kind of drowned out as well. I collected rubbers. I'm talking about the ones, erasers, Hamish. I didn't collect condoms until my 20s.
I don't know if that is weirder than collecting condoms.
What, collecting rubbers?
Yeah.
There are all sorts of shapes, Hamish. It wasn't just your one on the end of your pencil.
That doesn't make it not weird.
Really? I loved collecting rubbers. It was my favourite thing.
I like the smell of rubbers.
Yeah. Oh, that was part of it. Yeah. And
Yeah.
stickers. I used to have a lot of scratch and sniffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually in the Oxfordshire County tennis trials, Hamish.
Really?
Yep. I went to a posh private school for a while there where I used to wear my straw boater, but I failed miserably because I just ended up smoking around the back of the bike sheds and being really naughty. And they advised me to leave.
Oh, they invited you to look elsewhere?
Yes, depart Victoria. I used to love swimming as a kid. You mean, I would do anything. I gave up swimming at the local pool after my mum always used to say, Vicky, put your knickers on top of your swimming costume instead of putting them in your bag. So I used to get ready for school in the morning, put my swimming costume on, put my knickers on top of my cosy, and then I strode into the local swimming baths in front of all of my friends with my knickers still on top of my swimming costume, and everybody laughed at me.
This is like a nightmare.
It was a nightmare, so I never swam that pool again. Maidenhead and Bracknell swimming pool.
We can't blame booze for that one.
I can't blame it. No, I was wasted. I was 5. No, I was full of ideas until booze and especially cigarettes came on the scene. Smoking was my biggest hobby as a child. I know that sounds crazy, but at about 11 or 12, I discovered smoking and it was all I wanted to do. I found different ways to smoke. I would roll up herbs in A4 paper, light that. It would end up like a bonfire down the bottom of my feet, setting myself on a light. I would try and inhale the incense off incense sticks. I was roasting banana skins. I was doing anything I could to get some toxic substances into my body.
Why? What
I
was it
don't
about
know.
smoking?
I was rebelling. It was how I chose to rebel and how I was like to my mates, look, I've got cigarettes. I've stolen cigarettes. Look, come with me. It was like a superpower. I was like, you can be mates with me. I'm the fun one. Come and join me in my little naughty gang. And that was how I expressed myself then. Yeah, so since that point, my rebellious side kicked in and all the wholesome activities got booted out of the way. What about you, Hamish? Did you have hobbies as a kid?
Yeah, I don't think my hobbies have been that affected by my booze except for music. So I've always played a lot of sport and I can still do that when drinking or not. But yeah, musically, I used to play the piano, the trumpet, the drums and the bagpipes. When I went to uni, that was neither cool nor easy to do. Like it took a lot of time. I had to drive somewhere or I didn't have a car to get a cab or...
Scotland, you had to go to Scotland.
Yeah, I had to go to Scotland every time and play this loud instrument. So it was... I guess, in a way, I chose social life over continuing to play music.
Yeah.
And that was obviously to do with booze and going out and meeting people. And uni was also a time when, I don't know if it's me to blame or English uni culture. It might be a cop-out to call it English uni culture. But because of the way it's designed, it's all about getting a 2-1, right? Getting a 2-1.
Oh, yeah.
So I, for the first time in my life, and I think booze played a part of this, and like partying in Newcastle, I did the absolute bare minimum in order to get a 2-1. I got a 2-1, but it was the first time in my life I really didn't try my hardest. I think once you've done that for 3 years, which is what I did, or you don't try at all in your first year, you need to get 40% to get through the first year. That is quite a difficult habit to get out of. You're then looking to cut corners and you're looking for the easy way out more often than not. So I think that's actually a bad habit that you can pick up through, for me, it was, boozing and university. And I picked up more bad habits than good habits at uni.
Yeah, you'd think you'd go in there to learn more, educate yourself, but actually
at all.
It's like going to prison where you just learn how to be a better thief or a better dealer or a better... Yeah. You come out with a lot more criminal skill than you went in with. Enough about how useless we've been over the years. Let's take a peek under the sober blanket, Hamish, and reveal some of the hobbies that we've picked up that have improved our life since.
So, Vic, you've been sober longer than I have. You're already a parent to 3 children, 1 dog, a wife to a wonderful husband. I imagine you don't get too much time to yourself. But how do you fill your days?
Because I have 3 young kids, I feel like I have to have time to myself, because otherwise I would absolutely be banging on the door of a mental institution. Mm-hmm. Probably not called that anymore, are they? Mental institutions.
They'll be a more sensitive...
A Victorian asylum.
Yes, yeah. Nicely put.
I really need those. I don't know whether it's a different male and female thing, because my husband doesn't need that time. Like, he's happy to be with the family all the time and he doesn't need to have his own thing going on as much. But for me, I need to have things now in my sobriety that are not work related, not related to sober awkward or drunk mummy, sober mummy or cuppa or anything. I need to have stuff that I do on my own, because that's what fills my cup, as it were.
Pun intended?
Sort of.
Yeah.
So my first thing I did was pottery. My dad always says, don't give up your day job whenever I mention my pottery. But I started making these massive monkey heads out of clay, which I absolutely love doing. I don't know where it comes from, but it feels really tribal to me, and creating something out of nothing is so bloody satisfying. I started silversmithing. I learnt that as a sort of trade when I gave up drinking. And of course, the main thing was that I started writing. The day that I gave up drinking, I got my old diaries out and I started to log my drinking journey. And I hadn't really written until, since my travels in my early 20s. And that was a really fascinating way to get across all my emotions about my sobriety. And I love doing that. And of course, Hamish, I've written a book since then.
So these are all crafts and creative practices that you basically said goodbye to when you started booze.
These are all things that I've always done that actually booze cut off at a very young age. So let's say 16, 17. I knew I could do these things. I knew I could write well. I knew I could communicate with people and make them laugh. As soon as alcohol was introduced, they all disappeared completely.
So you're coming back to them now?
I'm coming back to them. So I found new ways, new hobbies that I enjoy. Like, I like going geocaching with my son, which is when you look for... do you not know what that is? So you have an app, a geocache app, and there's treasure everywhere. You don't even know it's there. But everywhere we're sitting now, Hamish, if we put the geocache in, someone has hidden a little bag of feathers or a nice rock, probably within 20 metres of us. And with the geocache app, you get clues and you can go and find these things wherever they are. So we go geocaching, looking for treasure. I do stuff with my kids, which I didn't do when I was hungover before. And so I create hobbies that involve the family, which is lovely. And I put more time into helping others. That is a hobby of mine. I have my sober meetups, my breakfasts and things. So even sobriety is a hobby for me because I enjoy it and I have to work on it. So therefore, I make it part of my life and make fun with it. And also I love putting videos together of my kids and sitting on iMovie and putting all my pictures together to music. I love all that sort of online stuff, and even editing this podcast I love doing as well. So, there are times I'm crying on my pillow, wondering what I should be doing with my life and sitting crying in the Audi car park. But I have found some really great hobbies since I gave up drinking.
So crying in an Audi car park, not a recommended sober hobby of yours?
Not the best pastime. But if you need to do it. I'm there on a Wednesday at 6 p.m.
We could all park next to each other like dogging.
Yeah, we could all hold hands.
Yeah.
Not quite like dogging. That's something different. As someone who's only a few weeks sober, Hamish, what kind of hobbies can you see yourself exploring further?
Well, what I'm trying to do is to focus on a short-term goal and then create or build hobbies around it.
Okay.
So I've got a marathon coming up in a few weeks' time. So I'm thinking, okay, that's the goal.
Yep.
What hobbies can I create around that? So I need to improve my fitness. So I'm doing more running than I would be doing. I'm
Yep.
going to the gym. I'm trying to eat and cook more. So I'm sort of trying to create, I'm imagining like a tree.
Yeah.
And the goal's at the top, and then all the branches are different hobbies that can help build towards that goal.
Okay, I'm imagining your tree.
Yeah, I hope that comes across. I'm not just completely mad. Parenting's not exactly a hobby, although I do it during my leisure time. I enjoy it, so it kind of fits the definition of what a hobby is. And there's plenty of hobbies that feed into parenting, like spending more time cooking, like I've mentioned. I need to get better at that. It also helps my wife because I'm crap at it. I need to take some of the weight off for her. She thinks that she has to do it all the time, mainly because she doesn't want to eat my cooking. But
No,
I need to
probably.
improve.
I've heard about your cooking.
Yeah.
But also the thing with that, with kids around, when your kids get older, Hamish, my daughter loves craft and I love craft. So now I find myself doing all the things that I used to enjoy with her again, and it's brilliant.
Well, yeah, I can't wait for them to get to the age where I can instill the hobbies in them that I love. I'll just force them to love
just force them to
cricket
do
and
it,
tennis. And yeah.
The only problem is you have to clear up after everyone. Like, they don't clear up. It's fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll just blackmail them. I'll just say, if you clean up, unlimited ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Healthy rules like that. in
Yeah,
the
healthy.
household.
Unlimited ice cream is always on the cards if they're behaving.
One of the things that we both love doing, me and Liz, which I think is a great hobby to have, particularly if you are sober, is hosting parties.
Okay, great.
Because I think going out to restaurants is obviously it's expensive, but it's more like the booze conversation is awkward if you're sober. We've spoken about this before.
Yeah.
Splitting the bill and everything around that is tough, but we both love hosting and we go above and beyond. We've actually got people staying tonight.
Oh, great.
So what we've done is we've got chocolates on the pillows for them.
Oh, nice.
They've brought their dog. So on another pillow, we've got a doggy treat.
God, you go all out.
We go all out.
Yeah.
Last week when Liz had friends staying, they arrived with the newborn. I said, give the baby to me. I bathed it so she could have some time
you're
without
nice.
the baby. That was quite good, yeah. So we like hosting. Being up for sunrise, that's something that you can look forward to doing if you're sober.
That is a really recommended hobby, doing that.
Yeah.
If you can get up for sunrise every day, your day is guaranteed to start with joy.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to get into surfing. I'm terrible. Liz's favourite hobby is watching me surf because I'm so bad.
Oh, because it's
funny.
like a funny thing.
Yeah. I'm very tall. So
Yeah,
I
you're
don't-
quite lanky. Yeah, it's not really
good.
made for you, is it?
No. Another thing which I love doing, which most people don't really do anymore, is writing letters. I don't know what it was. My parents are hot on us always writing thank you letters.
Oh, yes.
And I love doing it. I wrote one this morning because friends of ours gave my son Sonny a gift. And so I wrote a thank you letter from his point of view.
Oh, yeah, great.
I love all that. I love writing letters. I don't know what it is about letters.
I try and get my kids to write letters, but the most recent one was to the tooth fairy. And I said to my son, George, you need to write a letter because you need to know what you need to do. And I saw him giggling to himself, writing it in the lounge. And I was like, what have you written? He handed it to me and said, oi, tooth fairy, you know the drill.
There's something special about letters. I do another podcast about grief. And people always said to me that the best thing that they received when they were grieving their parents, I always interview people who are grieving their parents, was a written letter talking about your memories of that person.
Lovely.
Because it's not something that you can do whilst taking a shit.
Yes.
You'll receive a million texts saying, oh, sorry to hear your news, I think about your dad, whatever. If you write a letter and it's taken time and you send it, and it's a physical thing they can hold and they can keep and they can store it and read it in 6 months or 12 months or when they're having a bad day, there's something very special about it. So yeah, I love writing letters.
Okay, I think that's a lovely habit. These are obviously just a few things that might have worked for both of us, but you can obviously do whatever you like.
Well, not anything, Vic. We don't want to be seen as the podcast that started a trend of people shoplifting or licking escalators. That was my childhood. Most people had tennis elbow. I had escalator tongue.
Escalator tongue, that's new to me. I think I'm going to try that. I'll see you at the plaza later for a bit of
I'll
escalator
be hugging
action.
strangers at the bottom and you'll be licking the escalators.
It's like we've done really bad acid, gone on a weird trip. Keep your hobbies legal. A few other ideas that might work for you if you're newly sober are things like challenging yourself to do something new. something you've never done before. Do stand-up, a skydive, an ocean swim, pottery like I do, medieval LARPing festival. My sister went to one of these amazing medieval festivals where everyone's sort of dressed as Zelda, and, you know, I'm definitely up for that because I'm a bit obsessed. That's my new sober hobby, is playing the Switch with my son. So, yeah, I'm a bit obsessed with Zelda at the moment. But
Can we delve into that? Because the other day I called you and you said, hang on, Haim. I said, oh, what? It must be important. You were on YouTube looking up cheats.
Don't tell anybody that I looked up the cheats. That is against all the rules.
Zelda cheats online.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. That's what, when you have a 10-year-old son, you'll know. He's only 3 months old, yours. He'll be into Zelda in no time.
It's also always a good tip to try and do something productive with your hands. I remember Lucy saying on the podcast that she learnt how to knit. I would be interested in doing maybe some origami or some sign language, become a professional waver.
Oh, yeah, like that bloke that always sits at the end of your road waving at people.
Yeah, it's a nice touch, isn't it?
Yeah, lots of waving is good in sobriety.
Become the greatest waver out there.
Yeah, being the Guinness Book of Records as having the biggest wave, that would be a good idea. Don't start smoking, that's another tip.
Yeah, that is a good tip.
Yeah, because when we're saying do something with your hands, we mean do something positive with them, waving, not smoking. Connect with someone that's doing the same thing. Cuppa, for example. Go onto the Cuppa community, meet someone for a hobby, go stained glass window making, go for a Morris dancing class, do whatever you like, but do something fun with someone else. That makes it all the better.
Like Vic's done, find a passion for sobriety. Make that your hobby. Read the books, follow the pages and groups, listen to this podcast. Sober can be a full-time hobby. Actually, for lots of us, it has to be.
Yep, it definitely has to be for me. If you were a connoisseur of wines and beers, become someone who does that with AF drinks, with alcohol-free stuff. Swap the bad for the good. Be creative with your ideas and brainstorm. Make mocktails instead of cocktails and swap out the alcohol drinks for something that's going to be healthy and good for you. And you can make that your hobby.
I actually did that at uni with juice. I had a juice Bible.
Yes, you told me about that.
Yeah, juice Bible. So me and a friend would go buy a different juice every week from Sainsbury's or Tesco's or M&S, whatever. We shopped around. Yeah. And then we'd write 3 or 4 sentences and we'd give it a mark out of, I think it was about 5.
God, I hope you've still got those diaries.
Published.
Yeah.
No, it didn't turn into a career.
Okay, I understand.
Well, that's not a bad idea. Could have a podcast for juice.
Juice man.
If in doubt, lots of sober folks like to get really into walking or just getting out into nature. Start at the ocean or a tree. Breathe in the joy of not being hungover and how wonderful life really is. Practice being grateful. Both of us have got gratitude books that we try and keep up, and you can try and make that your hobby.
Yeah, that is a great idea. I mean, volunteering as well. Help a neighbour. A friend of mine gives haircuts to at the community centre, which is brilliant. Like, helping people takes away your need to drink and it gives you more of a focus on another thing. So I used to do Meals on Wheels when I first got sober. I used to have one day a week where I went and delivered meals to old people. It was absolutely brilliant. It was also quite confronting because I didn't realise there were so many people in my community that were so isolated and so alone. It was quite scary. There was this one brilliant woman who, it was really cold one day and she was like, "Are you all right, dear?" I was like, "Yeah, here's your meal." She was like, "Go and put on some fucking mittens." I loved her. I used to go and see her and sit and have a cup of tea with her on the end.
I think that's a good one for anyone that doesn't have kids. We always talk about kids because we both parents, but anyone that doesn't have kids and finds themselves with a lot of time when they're sober, doing something like that, going to volunteer can be a really great way of spending it.
Yeah, and Lucy started working for Lifeline when she gave up drinking as well, because she gives a day a week now where she goes and does that. So really give yourself out there, put yourself out there for these things.
Any other hobbies that really relate to self-care? Like I said, I'm doing the breathing stuff, but yoga, meditation, hiking, sailing, collecting stamps, buying all bits of crap from op shops, anything like that, anything that looks after yourself but isn't too addictive.
And anything that stops you drinking, like that's all it is. Find something that's more productive and more healthy and gets you out into the world. And, you're living your life then. You're not just sat at home with a bottle of booze. We don't want to pretend that changing your hobbies and getting sober is necessarily going to be easy. It might take you some time to really find that thing that entertains and energises you the way that drinking used to. So if you don't find the right thing, keep looking. In the end, you might find something completely out of character, like line dancing, something that will really fill your sober cowboy boots.
I'm sure there are going to be plenty of nights when I'm home alone in tears, reading a sad book about the Second World War, or singing Twinkle Twinkle for the 100th time whilst my friends are out partying and dancing on speakers. That is when I'll really question my life decisions.
Yeah.
But what I'm really interested in, Vic, is whether there have been any hobbies that you've tried that have not worked. Zelda obviously has. Any that might have even triggered you into wanting to pick up the bottle again. Without wanting to sound too much like Ed Sheeran, are there any bad habits?
Well, actually, I would say Zelda, like starting with an addictive personality. Not that I believe that there is such a thing as addictive personality, but I am someone who does enjoy things and then takes it too far.
Okay.
Obviously.
Have you bought a Zelda costume?
I am thinking about it. And there is an event coming up where everybody dressed as Zelda and you go on this stay in a camping trip and stuff, which I would quite like to do.
Oh my God,
but yeah, I take things too far like that. So actually that is bad. I need to learn how to control myself around new hobbies as well, even if they're not addictive and not unhealthy. There are certain aspects of things that I get too into. I did go to Frisbee Club after having my first child. And that just for anyone who's given up drinking, I am brilliant at Frisbee, but the pitch is fucking massive. I didn't realise it's like the size of 10 football pitches, and no one threw me the Frisbee once. And I just ran up and down this field like with tears rolling down my face, feeling really rejected. Yeah, and I came away feeling really sad because Frisbee's my favourite. Yeah, so I never went to a Frisbee Club again.
One threw it at me. We can start a Frisbee Club.
They didn't trust me.
We can start a 2-person Frisbee Club in a very small room, and we're going to do it in here. We'll just pass the Frisbee to each other.
Yeah, I'm in, I'll do.
What else didn't work?
I did go to a free dance night, which was when you dance in a room with loads of people to some really weird sort of ethereal music.
Yep.
And you're sort of giving yourself up to the sky. And I was sort of raising my hands and making weird noises. That was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever done in my entire life. It was so awkward. I mean, we call this podcast Sober Awkward for a reason, because being sober is generally quite awkward. But that was out of this world awkward. It was all kind of middle-aged women with no bras, just kind of sitting on the ground on pillows at the end, just sort of going, making all these weird noises. I don't know, we're kind of connecting with our wombs or something.
Yes.
All I connected was with the wind that was, building up in my stomach because I wanted to do a big fart.
I quite want to do that. That sounds quite interesting.
Yeah, I might send you to that actually. Yeah, so I did try a few new things without alcohol that were actually too confronting for me, which can happen as well. So the point is you've got to keep going to things. I do plan on joining a choir. I do like singing. And I wouldn't mind joining a drumming club, like communal drumming. I do like the idea of people coming together, like a sort of flash mob or big drumming club, or a lot of people in one place doing one thing. Yeah. Of course, I did the Thriller dance for my son's Halloween party a couple of years ago. Me and all the mums secretly learnt the Thriller dance. We told them we were going to yoga every week and we practiced in secret. And then we appeared dressed as zombies at this party and did the full Thriller dance. It was the best. You've seen it, haven't you? I've showed it to you. It's like the peak of my life, that moment. And I was sober throughout that whole thing. One of the best things I've ever done. So any mums out there, get the other mums together and learn the Thriller dance at the school hall or whatever, because it is a brilliant thing to do. I know you like wearing mascot outfits, Hamish. Maybe one of your new hobbies could be becoming a furry. Do you know what that is?
No, you need to explain.
Yeah, a person that dresses up as a giant animal as a sexual fetish.
Thanks.
You would love that, wouldn't you? You're about the right height. You could be like a massive panda or something.
I did. So I told you that I was a mascot at the Surrey County Cricket Club.
Yes.
I did have quite a weird interaction once with a kid.
Yeah.
So there was a group of kids. It was actually a really quiet game. So rather than me being on the pitch, they said, "Hey, Hamish, get into the stands and like mix with." Yeah. It was a school that was there, mixed with the school. So I went up to this group of kids, and there was obviously the ringleader, who was probably 11, 12, and someone said to him, "Is it a boy or a girl?" And without taking a breath, grabbed my crotch, gave it a squeeze, went, "It's a boy."
I sort of love that kid.
I know, but you can't break character as the line, so I just had to wave. I can't speak. Just had to wave my finger at him. No, little boy. Then
in
quickly
this
run away.
Giant suit.
Yeah.
Oh my God! You didn't give him an elbow as you passed away, did you?
No, it's awkward though, because when you are a mascot, I've spent all day with one kid. One kid who wants to hold my hand and walk around the ground, and then I'll get in the bus home, not in the costume, and he's sitting opposite him, and you really can't.
You can't say anything.
No.
It was me.
You can't say that.
You just have to hope they don't grab your bollocks.
Yeah. So, Vic, it sounds to me like the benefits of filling your time with hobbies instead of drinking are twofold. Firstly, it will help you not to fixate on drinking. And secondly, it gives you the opportunity to broaden your horizons, upskill, get fit, or educate yourself. In short, you are becoming a more interesting and varied person than someone who gets drunk every Friday and is hungover every Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. Most people feel a certain vulnerability in going sober. They fear their chat might suffer. In short, they will be seen as boring. But the opposite is actually true. Wouldn't you rather sit next to someone who's telling you about kite surfing, Hamish, for the first time, or completing a tantric yoga course than hearing the same slurring story for the 100th time that night?
We've all been there. That fear is real, and that's why I feel it's so important to fill your sober days. Don't hide away like a hermit. Try one or two of these hobbies that we've mentioned in the episode, or go out and do something completely different and tell us about it on the Cuppa website.
And remember the money episode? Now you have some spare funds to do the stuff you've never done before, so get out and do it. Spend that money on something cool, something new. Dave contacted me on Cuppa. He said that he went to a music shop with his son to choose a guitar for his 10th birthday. When he got into the shop with his son, it hit him that he could learn it too. He could learn the guitar at the same time as his son. Awesome. What a brilliant idea. He dipped into the not drinking fund of disposable money that had not pissed up the wall, and he got a guitar. He says it's been a revelation in more ways than one. Not only did he get a hobby, but he's got a hobby to do with his son. And on Sunday mornings, he asks him to help him learning, and they fire up a YouTube video and sit together annoying the neighbours. He said it genuinely made him feel quite emotional as it dawned on him that it was nothing that he would have done when he was drinking. He would have just been hungover. So it's been great for his relationship with his son and for his mental health. There you go. There's a perfect example of someone doing a new hobby and it totally changing their life.
Oh, what a story. And that is why having sober hobbies is a must. It opens up other avenues for deeper connections with family and friends, and you get to be that legend that brings out guitar at a campfire now, Dave. Maybe when he gets good, not now.
Yeah, not yet.
No.
You've got to at least learn Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah.
So we've got to talk about a challenge, Hamish.
Okay.
I've come up with a brilliant challenge because we were talking about these hobbies and getting yourself out there and that weird dance thing. Mm-hmm. It's funny that I mentioned that because actually, Hamish, what I'm sending you to is something called No Lights, No Lycra for your challenge this week. So if you've listened to the podcast before, you'll know that I send Hamish on his newly sober challenges. And if this is your first time, the sentence is what, Hamish?
Finish the sentence. The hardest thing to do sober is.
So actually, I'm being kind to you on this one. So I want to get you ready for those weddings that you've got coming up. So actually, you're going to be dancing in the dark.
Yeah.
So it's actually going to be quite freeing, but it will get you ready to be dancing in the light at the wedding in England. What No Lights, No Lycra is, it's a place for people to go and dance in a friendly, not threatening, drug and alcohol-free atmosphere. It occurs in like a dimly lit room.
Amazing.
And you can just, let rip, basically. Get all your best moves out there. I wouldn't mind coming with you, actually.
You have to come. Please come with me. Otherwise, I'm going by myself.
All right, I might come to that one.
Is it weird that I'm thinking, what shall I wear? It's in the dark, but I want to get dressed up.
You almost want to wear like rave outfit, don't you? Like full fluoro sort of thing. Yeah, that would be good.
Okay, let's get dressed up and go dancing in the dark this week. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I'm in.
Let's finish this one with a quote and a song. You do the quote, I'll do the song.
An idle mind with enough time on their hands is far worse than a politician.
Nice, very political of us.
Very political of us.
And the song, and I really encourage you to go listen to this. This one's by Luke Concannon, who's the singer from Nizloppy I spoke about.
Oh, yes, you like Nizloppy, don't you?
I love Nizloppy. I love Luke Concannon. So the song is called Doing Nothing. And I'm just going to read you the opening line of it because it might resonate with you. He says, I'm not doing nothing at all with my life. I'm watching cage fighting and comedy shorts all night. I'm doing nothing at all that I'm called to. Not living the life I was born to because I'm scared of my gift.
Oh yeah, there's something to be said for like being scared of what you can achieve. But the brilliant thing is about being sober is you get to go out there and try new things. If you don't like them, put them aside and try something new. But this is your opportunity to grow your health and your mental wealth as well, because doing these things makes you feel satisfied and it really fulfills your life. So we're not saying that you have to get sober hobbies. We're recommending you do it to fill that time that you had when you were drinking with something more positive, and it has so many benefits.
We're going to go ice bathing.
We're going to go ice bathing up. Should we take Alan with us?
God, no.
No.
He doesn't love a lot. I don't think he'll love ice bathing.
He will hate us forever. If you're questioning your relationship with booze, you're struggling to moderate, or your hangovers are causing anxiety, it might be time to reach out for some support.
Yeah, just talk to a mate about how you're feeling, contact a local doctor, find an AA or sobriety group. Vic's got one.
Yeah, just head to www.cuppa.community.
Remember, if you're questioning yourself, it might be time to seek support.
Even though this journey can be awkward, it is definitely worth it. And if you've enjoyed the Sober Awkward podcast, don't forget to review it, rate it, and share it with your mates.
Do they have to share it with their mates?
Yeah, of course they do. I'm not doing this for nothing, Hamish. Bloody hell.
How do they share it?